Welcome back to HPL, or the PvP Live Studios in Frisco, Texas. I'm with Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, I'm Tannen Grayson. We just saw an amazing match one. We saw Powder get into the winning side of the board here against Nyria 3-1.
Yeah, neither of these players had played Druid so far in HPL.
We saw both a lot of it here in this match.
Yeah, in this match, and Powder getting the better of this one. Actually led off with Echo Mage in his first game, wildly against the strategies that he's typically played so far. Nyria very easily thrown off by that. I mean, he has Acidic Swamp Ooze in his deck, ready for a lot of the weapons that Powder's been playing. He had Mind Control Tech in his deck, ready for Powder to be flooding the board with minions. Didn't happen in that game. He bided his time, waited until he could get a very big swing turn, used 2 Molten Giants and an Echo Medivh to put 4 Molten Giants on the board in 1 turn, and that was lights out for Nyria after that.
Yeah, you saw the importance of queuing up well against your opponent in that match a lot. I feel that Powder out-queued Nyria almost every single game there. Nyria came expecting aggression from Powder. We all kind of did. You know, he's been doing it a lot here in HPL. Powder kind of got the better of him, and then when Nyria started to like retarget him to change up his decks to kind of, you know, deal with what Powder was coming with, you saw Powder change back into a super aggressive deck there in the last game and get the win and win that match against Nyria. Good for him. He's up 3-2 now, 3 ways, a third of the way through the season.
Yeah, beautiful stuff that we've seen from him, and just absolutely great that he's been able to play that way. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, you can head over to pvplive.net and see for yourself everything that happened in that match. The full stats breakdowns, where they stand in the league after this, full schedule, VODs, recaps, everything that you need to know about that. And remember, every Monday through Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time on twitch.tv/pvplive, there's going to be more matches. Make sure you hit that follow button and never miss a live show. So now that these players are done with that one, we're going to take a look at the standings and see how they sit in HPL. We mentioned that a third of the way through the season that now Powder finds himself at 3-2. Beautiful stuff from him working towards that top 8 spot.
Yeah, he's actually, you know, if it were to end today, he's qualified for that top 8 spot now. So is Nyria still with that 4-2 record. The players that you're seeing below Powder, we're getting a couple of those guys in tonight. They really need their wins. We have Kaldi and Muzzy coming up next. You see Kaldi at 2-3 and Muzzy at 2-4. Both of these guys need a win really bad.
Yeah, both. I mean, I love to see these kinds of matches where both guys need a big win in a big way to start turning their seasons around.
A lot of pressure on both of them coming
absolutely, because both of them have been struggling a little bit so far here. You know, neither player really able to find, you know, exactly what their identity is so far here in HPL.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about this match between Kaldi and Muzzy before we get into it. What I want to talk about with these two guys, what I really want to focus between the two of them, is blowback. Now, when you talk about Kaldi, he's coming in at 2-3 here in HPL. Now, he's actually got a really low blowback score here in HPL. He's the 3rd lowest in all of the league at 3.5. Now, this is kind of strange to see since Kaldi only has games played with Druid, Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior. That's all the classes he's used. Now, all those classes can easily choose to use their life totals for some kind of gain during a game. Now, Kaldi has also played 8 games in which he has recorded a blowback score of 0. Hasn't actually done any of it. Now, in those games, he's 3-5. So that's showing that maybe he's missing opportunities to leverage his life total for an advantage. I'd like to see him do that a little bit more here. You're playing these classes that can do that can really leverage their life total. Use it to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's kind of been the one who's the control player in his matchups too. That's the style that he really loves to play, and not really quite taking into account the full range of classes that are available for him. The fact that he hasn't been using his life total quite as aggressively as some other players do, you know, that's a really big spot for him. I'd love to see him kind of get more aggressive. He's tried it out a little bit with some of his Hunter decks. He was playing a little bit more mid-range, but I'd like to see him go the full way on that one. Be really aggressive and be the one driving the action. But you know, he kind of has that chess background though, and that will really mold the way that you approach games and think about them. The fact that he's in that kind of situation, he wants to have complete control over the entire game and every single thing that's happening. He's even said in one of his interviews, not really a ranked play kind of person, likes to prepare for best of 5 series in that regard. And you're seeing that kind of reflected in his, not only in his play style, but kind of the way that he's been queuing up games and everything like that. He wants to have complete control, but he hasn't been able to get it quite yet.
Yeah, hasn't been able to get it. Really tries, and he really needs to try to get it here against Muzzy tonight if he gets the win. And I want to talk about Muzzy. He's coming in at 2-4 into this match. Now, his blowback score coming in, he's at 8.4. That is 3rd highest in all of HPL, so he's on the other end of the spectrum. Now, Muzzy has kind of been all over the place so far in HPL with his class queue-ups. Now, he's only won 2 games with classes here in HPL. He's only won games with 2 different classes here in HPL, Druid and Warlock. So blowback is a pretty integral part of the game to Warlock. Muzzy has a huge blowback score of 16 in those games. He's got a blowback score of 1 with Druid, which is fine. You know, you don't always have to leverage your life total with that, but it's pretty important that you do it with your Warlock. So he is really using his health to get a ton of extra cards in those games and get ahead of his opponents. He's been 3-1 here with Warlock. He might want to continue that kind of stuff here tonight.
Yeah, he also did fantastic with Druid against Purple. I mean, both of those classes kind of play more of a mid-range style, and that seems to be what Hearthlytics is really all about. You know, Jab falling sort of into that same category. The fact that these guys are a team and practice together, you're seeing that sort of reflected on them. You know, very early on, Muzzy was a very aggressive player with very aggressive decks. And the fact that we've seen him win with these mid-range strategies now, you know, I kind of like that he's putting these numbers up. He doesn't need to diversify his strategies, I don't think. If he's going to put up with these wins with these two classes, that's fine. He just does. A heavy momentum player is what he's been so far. You know, very streaky in what's been happening in those matches, not finding himself in positions where, you know, he's kind of winning 2 games and losing a game. He's either having massive win streaks or pretty big losing streaks. That's really where he's at. But, you know, he's a very young guy still. And anytime you have someone like that who's playing in these professional environments, they're going to kind of struggle to find their identity in that. But he's been trying to do that amidst this adversity that he's facing from other professional players. So if that means he has to play Druid and Warlock until he really figures out what's going to work best for him, I totally love that and would love to see it more.
Yeah, he's a really young player, but he does have a really bright future ahead of him. I'd love to see more from him now. But when you start to compare these guys, see how they both look up, how they both look in this match, they've been on opposite ends of the spectrum here when it comes to blowback. Now, Kaldi's been going at way below average and Muzzy going way above it. So if you look at the winning players in HPL, they're all somewhere in the middle of the blowback scores. Everyone who is winning at least half of their games here in HPL has a blowback score between 4 and 7. So they haven't shown that they've shown not only an understanding of how to get an advantage out of their life total, but a great sense of when to use it. I want to see that more out of these players here tonight, and it might lead to some more wins from them. Pick good spots to leverage your life total, and you're going to get a lot more wins.
Yeah, both of these guys really need to kind of get together all of the facets of the game and really utilize them a little bit more, because again, they've been focusing kind of on one single point of the game. This fact, when Muzzy switched over to that, he started doing a little bit better, but Kaldi's been solely focused on control strategies and sometimes a little bit of combo strategies. We've seen him got that big frothing berserker turn, of course, with the shades coming on afterwards. That
favorite part of HPL so far.
In that one-turn win. But, you know, I think in this matchup, you're likely to see them kind of streamline their performances a little bit more. And I don't necessarily mean focus on one class. I mean take into account all of the elements of how to put together winning strategies and really use that to their advantage. I think if Kaldi wants to beat Muzzy, he's going to have to find extra resources, because I anticipate Muzzy still kind of fighting through the middle stage of the game. But Kaldi really wants to learn what he's going to do and try to use that against him. But Muzzy has been, you know, swapping wildly between stuff that's going on. I don't know if he's really going to be able to figure it out in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to see if he figures it out in this match and see if Kaldi can figure out what he needs to do to win and beat Muzzy here. What do you think he needs to do?
Well, I think Kaldi's got to do a couple different things if he really wants to win this match. And I think the first one he's got to do is he just got to start punching. Be very aggressive against Muzzy and put him on a defensive position. If he wants to play threats that start at the turn 5 and the turn 6 curve, go ahead and let him. Get a flame imp on the board and punish him for playing that way. But at the same time, after he's been playing those aggressive strategies, I think he's got to find a way to mix in a control deck. At some point, Muzzy's going to adjust to that kind of strategy if that's what he intends to do. So when that happens, a control deck can kind of pick him off for playing those cards that are more efficient in the early game, but not quite as efficient as he move through those stages of the game. I think if he finds that right balance, that he can win this match.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there about that. But I'm going to talk about what Muzzy has to do. And you know what? My first point of him, be like Jab. Jab, your teammate, he had a rough start here in HPL at 0-2. Then he won 5 in a row. He felt targeted and he made a change. He's been winning with mid-range, and so have you. Continue that. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Win with that. The second one, focus on your game. You've only won classes with you've only won games of 2 different classes here, Druid and Warlock. Keep playing them. Make other people make you stop playing those classes. Don't choose anything else. Stop jumping all over the map and key in on what's been successful for you, and you'll win here tonight.
Yeah, I think he's played something like 7 different classes.
Yes.
I think so far in HPL.
And he only has wins with 2.
It's a smattering of costing 2, like 1 and 2 games with some of the other classes, but with Druid and Warlock, lots of games, also lots of wins. But who do I think's got the advantage in this match? Frankly, I think it's Kaldi. I think Kaldi's last couple of matches, we've been seeing beautiful stuff from him. He started to make adjustments, and I think he's starting to really get the hang of the way that the HPL format works. You're going to have to take into account your opponent and do something that actually punishes them, not necessarily just react to what's going on. And frankly, I think it's what we've been seeing a little bit from him. So I think Kaldi's going to get the better end of this match by out-adjusting what Muzzy's going to do.
You know, those are all really great points, Nathan, but I just think you're wrong. I think Muzzy's going to win this match here tonight. He's going to do exactly what I said. You've seen him kind of figuring it out here in the last couple of weeks. He's been playing the same deck and playing the same deck. You saw it against Purple. He queued up Druid 4 times. I don't think he necessarily needs to do that to win here tonight, but figure out what's been working for you and leverage that, and you'll get the win here tonight.
Hey, you think I'm just wrong? I think you're just wrong. That's the end of the story here. Who do you think is wrong, though? You can get out there on Twitter and use that hashtag HPL and let us know who you think's got the advantage in this match. You can tag PvP Live in that comment, as well as head on over to the Facebook page, like and comment over there, and we'll be checking them out throughout the show. And if you want to see who you think's got the edge, kind of get a better breakdown for it, head over to pvplive.net and follow along with this match. You can see their full stats, their competitive breakdowns, everything that you need to know about these players' histories and how they've played those strategies in the past. Get a glimpse into what they've been doing and what you think they're going to do to tackle this match. But now that all that's out of the way, we got to take a look at the X factors and really think about what's going on.
Yeah, well, these players are getting ready to prove one of us wrong here, and they're going to do it right now. We're going into game 1 between Muzzy and Kaldi, and let's see who's wrong, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, anyone could be wrong in this spot, and you know, I think it's going to be you, and that's a Hunter from Muzzy, and look at that, Savannah Highmane and a Houndmaster. Mid-range strategies at their best.
I love to see this. If you want to be aggressive, you can still be aggressive with these mid-range strategies. You don't have to move all in on turns 1, 2, and 3. You can have high-end plays like Savannah Highmane, Lotheb, and Houndmaster in your deck. You know what? He might be playing Jab's exact list here. You never know. Their teammates work together. Your teammates figured this out. He's been doing great. He's 5-1 in his last 6 matches.
Yeah.
You know, pick his brain.
I mean, Jab has done fantastic.
I just saw a lay on hands.
Yeah, that's a Paladin deck over on that side.
Yeah.
And Paladin can do a good job, I think, at disrupting some of this early
Zombie
game
Chow.
here. There
Wow.
it is. That's one of the nightmare minions for Hunter, man.
Zombie Chow with a shielded mini-bot behind it. Kaldi has come ready to deal with aggression.
Yep.
Iron Beak Owl, though, picked up from Muzzy here. It's going to be a pretty decent answer to the shielded mini-bot.
Yeah, will help take out that front half of that body. But, you know, kind of going back to where this Hunter strategy, I honestly think it did kind of come from, is that Jab, you know, in May, he was #1 on ladder, and he played Hunter to do it. You know, he's always been working on that strategy. When you watch him stream, that's what he's going to play. And Muzzy, I think, taking a big influence from that, really, you know, working with his team to find the right answers to this format.
Yeah, he has a couple of different options here. He could web spinner and get a damage on the Zombie Chow, but he doesn't know something like shielded mini-bot is coming behind, so he'd have something like Iron Beak Owl. He could coin out this Knife Juggler and just kind of trade with the Zombie Chow, but he didn't really want to do that. I think what he wanted to do was try to coin out this Eagle Horn Bow and really try to get grips of this board quickly. Yeah,
also the fact that he's got Knife Juggler in his hand. This is a matchup where Unleash the Hounds and Knife Juggler can always bring back the game with these major swings. So I love that he's holding on to this Knife Juggler to look for those big returns.
This is the kind of matchup you're going to see a lot of big Knife Juggler turns, because you got to believe Kaldi probably has something like Muster for Battle and Knife Juggler in his deck as well. So both players can have these huge Knife Juggler turns and can really answer each other's as well.
Yeah, now the fact that this game has started out a little bit slower, I have to believe that favors Kaldi a little bit. He's already got a copy of Sylvanas, he's got an Aldor Peacekeeper in his hand, and he's also picked up an Iron Beak Owl. He's going to be able to check what Muzzy's doing at basically every single step of the way right now.
Yeah, going forward, this looks really great for Kaldi. Muzzy's hand, you know, he kind of had to come out the gates a little slow, as you said. He's going to just take his time here, buy his time. He's got some big game and late game threats in his deck, so he's just waiting to pick up one of those.
That could be disastrous if he doesn't find himself a Quartermaster, because Muzzy has got Knife Juggler and Unleash the Hounds in his hand. Kaldi, though, I mean, he does need to commit in a situation like this. He can't just sit back and wait for things to fall his way. He's got to take action.
Yeah, Muzzy picks up the Beast here as well.
Yeah, Beast probably not going to be too great in this matchup. You know, when that one dies, your opponent gets a 3-3. Not exactly the deal you're looking for. Muzzy's going to Unleash the Hound straight away. He's very afraid of a Quartermaster in this spot. You know, this is...
I think it's just something safe that you just have to play around here. If you run into something like Quartermaster here, the game is actually just over.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big thing to think about. You know, he can still win this game without that Knife Juggler and Unleash the Hound's turn, but if he fell into a Quartermaster on that turn, that game would have been completely over. So don't mind seeing that at all.
Yeah, and like, look at Kaldi's hand here. Doesn't have a great play this turn. I love seeing this from Muzzy. This is something a lot of you guys can learn at home. You don't have to always do the big sexy play. You know what I mean? You can just make the correct play for you in that turn. You don't always have to hold on to your Knife Juggler for those huge Unleash the Hounds combos.
Yeah, look at this. I'm even going to add Aldor Peacekeeper to the board. The fact that Eagle Horn's out of the way, he just wants to add pressure.
No, I love this. His turn 6 is taken up already, his turn 7 is taken up already, and his turn 8 is taken up already. He doesn't have time to cast this Aldor Peacekeeper later. He's getting it now.
Yeah, this is actually really great foresight, and this is also going to help check this Lotheb. We'll have to take some damage in the meantime, or maybe he just wants to add Sylvanas behind this.
True Silver Champion picked up as well. A great card in this matchup going forward, but it's going to be hard to pass up this Sylvanas, even though, you know, he could just trade easily into it with a Lotheb, but it's hard to pass up, playing a 6-drop on turn 6 here.
Yeah, it basically has taunt at this point, and I think a 6-mana taunt.
He's going to actually leverage the life total here and take care of this Lotheb, so this Sylvanas is unchecked.
I actually really like this play, because now the Sylvanas is putting a massive amount of pressure on the Muzzy. He's going to be forced to take care of this. I mean, it looks to me like this has to be an Iron Beak Owl turn.
Yeah, he's got Iron Beak Owl here. Now, I like this play from Kaldi because he's able to back this up with Dr. Boom, and then lay on hands as something crazy starts happening. You start taking a ton of damage here in these turns.
Now, here's something to be said about this, though. Muzzy can play this Savannah high main, and it's going to make the two hyenas after the Sylvanas is triggered, so he understands that interaction. But this is now a window of opportunity for Kaldi to really be the aggressive player in this match, and that's exactly what you're going to see. Dr. Boom's going to come out, and 5 comes swinging over to the face.
Yeah, he gets into the point of damage here because he's got this True Silver champion next turn. So Muzzy's effectively at 12 here, so there's a chance that Muzzy's going to die on the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, he does have to do something about this board position, but with 2 kill commands in his hand, I think he's more than well equipped to do it.
Yeah, you could trade it in Sylvanas here, get your 2 minions left over and use something like Kill Command Quick Shot to take care of this Dr. Boom, and then you're just left over with these boom bots that you have to deal with.
Yeah, it could also even be something as simple as just Iron Beak Owl and coupling that with a Kill Command to take out the Sylvanas. You know, handling that body straight away could be fine. He does need to push for damage at some point, but if he pushes too hard, he's going to find himself falling behind because of that lay on hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, yeah, you're going to see him actually play a Dr. Boom of his own here.
Yeah, this is a really, really big play now from Muzzy. Wants a ton of minions on the board, and Kaldi, you know, the fact that this game has worked so well in his favor, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and it looks like to me that he can almost start pushing for lethal in this spot because of that True Silver champion.
Yeah, it's got 13 damage here. It'll put Muzzy to 3, and you got to believe they don't usually have a way to stop you from getting in that last points of damage with the True Silver champion here. He's already used an Animal Companion, so he doesn't really usually have a lot of ways to taunt things up from here, and you haven't seen a Houndmaster from him yet.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty complicated turn because at the same time, you know, is Kaldi in a position where he could just start trading and really make the most favorable position out of this game? I think that's a realistic possibility.
Here's the thing too, if you push for too much damage, Muzzy has 13 power in play right now, plus 10 more damage in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a dangerous spot. He's going to have to weigh it perfectly to figure out how this goes.
Yeah, I have to believe Kaldi's going to trade. He's just
going upstairs with the True Silver champion,
yeah,
though.
just so he gains 2 life here, I think, is why he's doing it this way. You're going to see him, I think, attack with these boom bots and this Dr. Boom.
That goes to the dome. Wow, Kaldi turning up the heat versus Muzzy right now. And playing a little bit into it, Unleash the Hounds or something like that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus, that looks like lethal for Muzzy here. Unless these boom bots hit in a big way.
Oh, we saw the huge chain reaction of boom bots here. It's almost like Kaldi knew it was coming.
What a turnaround because of these boom bots. Wipes out both of the hyenas. And if Muzzy had a beast left on board, this would be a very different game. He would have had 13 points of direct damage in his hand if he had a beast stay around, but he doesn't have that option anymore.
Yeah, I'm stunned that Kaldi took this line, honestly. Here's the thing, too, though. If this Boombot were to hit Kaldi for 4, it would put him to 20, right? And Muzzy, oh man, he doesn't have a Beast in play anymore. I was about to say, I was still counting it as 13 for some reason. But yeah, he can't play a Beast and both kill commands and the quick shot. So now the onus is on Muzzy. He's at 4 and he has no way to stop this True Silver champion.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he has no way to stop it is going to spell the end. And I mean, that Boombot would have needed to dealt like 14 points of damage if he wanted to win this one. He is going to show Kaldi that he would have had more than enough damage had that not succeeded. But Kaldi going to get the better of this one. Fate going to decide that he can take out these minions of these Boombots, and he's going to pick up game 1.
Yeah, just pretty fortunate on those Boombot triggers there on the turn before. Just wow, 1 Boombot in, and the crazy chain reaction that went off. We saw like 5 minions go crazy and start flying all over the board and dying and damage everywhere.
I have no idea what the odds of that happening were, but they fell on Kaldi's side this turn. You know, pretty aggressive play from him. Very different than what we've been seeing from him in the past, and I like that he's turning up the heat right now.
Yeah, I was like in the middle of saying a sentence of, I fully expect Kaldi to trade here because that's what he does. You know, and then, but we talked about, you know, when he hasn't been, he's been winning more games. Now he took kind of a risky line there, but ended up working out for him in the end.
Yeah, the aggression is something I think he needed in his game plan if he wants to really start turning around the way that his record's been working. Force his opponent into the defensive position. Let them be the one to react to you. If you guys want to see how this game panned out, you can head over to pvplive.net and see the recap for yourself. The full stats breakdowns and everything that happened in this one. Kaldi able to get those extra minion kills because of those Boombots, and that really turned things around. But they're making changes to their decks right now. That's the HPL format. They can change anything they want at any time. And then when we come back, Game 2 is going to be getting underway. Muzzy looking to get on the board, and Kaldi looking to make this one 2-0. Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.
When I think of the future, I think of the men and machines and friends.